again, like her bringing into question how good of a dad I am was the thing that used to rattle me a lot. One thing that she confronted me about is that at that time, I was guilty of liking other ladies' pictures. The extent that it got to where I would say that, she'll threaten to stop me from seeing my child because we've had an argument. But I remember thinking that I need something in black and white. So I remember, because I had a little bit of experience working in contract law by that point, I said I know roughly what it takes to draft together a contract.
What's going on, people, and welcome back to the Baby Fathers podcast for another brand new episode. I'm your host, and I go by the name of DJ Ridler. Before I start today's show, make sure you subscribe to the channel, press the notification button so anytime an episode comes out, and don't forget to give us the likes, all right? So on today's show, we've got another special guest, and he goes by the name of Simples. How you doing, Simples?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on the show, man. I appreciate you, man. Big up.
I was going to say thank you for coming down.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you is...
Before you continue though, just simple.
Simples.
Yeah, just simple.
My bad, simple.
It's cool.
All right, so listen, I want to say thank you for coming down on today's show. What has brought you down to the Baby Fathers?
So I've been tuning into the Baby Fathers podcast ever since I come across it. I think my family, friends, my missus, I'll be talking about the podcast. So like for me, I thought it would be good to come and just share a bit of insight into what my experiences has been as a separated father, and hopefully that can kind of shed some light, maybe give other fathers a bit of, empowerment into what that journey can look like. So again, it's just coming to share my experiences in hope that it can empower like other fathers and make them feel like, you know what, there are other ways to do things. I think the conventional way of doing things for a lot of separated fathers can sometimes be like quite detrimental to the kids or the children or the child in question. So I thought my perspective might just, just give a different kind of idea of how to approach things.
Wicked. All right, so before we get into your situation, I have to put a disclaimer out there. Anything what you say is your truth and is your truth only. No one can say anything different because it's how you see it to be. All right? Cool. So we're going to start from the beginning of your journey as a parent.
Yep.
How did it all start?
So me and the mother of my daughter met when I was at uni and she was in college. We lived in the same town. I would say... our wider group of friends kind of like knew of each other and whatnot. So friends of a friend kind of thing. And then I think I must have sent her like a friend request on Facebook or something.
them ones there, yeah.
So after that, I think we got talking, all of that. And then, like in those talking stages, I think it kind of got to a point where we started seeing each other. She'll come round and see me whilst I was in my uni accommodation. And like one thing led to another. Do you know what I'm saying?
So how long did it take before the relationship got serious?
I think, in all honesty, I don't think the relationship got serious until like she became pregnant.
And how quick was that?
So that was within a few months. Within a few months of us talking, obviously like we'd go on dates, she'll come round. And obviously she's at college, so she's living with her mum at that time. But yeah, I think she'll come round and like she'll stay the night and all of that. And then like it happened, I think, when I was at my dad's. I remember the day I was at my dad's and I got a text message. And when I got this text message, I found out I was going to be a dad, innit? So,
did you find that your whole world stopped when you read that text? Like, what was the feeling when you saw she was saying she was pregnant?
I was baffled.
Okay.
The reason why I say I was baffled is because we had conversations about if there was ever going to be a situation where she gets pregnant, that, you know, at that time, I'm in my first year of uni, she's in her second year of college. We're not old enough. We're not in a place where we can have a child. We're not independent. We can't support ourselves. So like, it's like, how can we raise another child if we can't even kind of look after ourselves, kind of thing? So I was with that mindset. We had this conversation, like, cool. So when I got that text, I felt baffled. I was confused. The world did kind of stop. And I remember just thinking, like, what's going to happen next? Because I knew from that text, it wasn't like she's telling me because, oh, like, you know, it's a case where she's thinking she don't want to have it. I thought she was texting me because she's thinking, oh, I'm going to keep it.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, rah, like, this is completely unplanned. This goes against what we spoke about, innit? So.
All right. And was you lot using protected precautions when you...
She told me that she was on the pill.
Okay.
So
would we say that's one of the famous lines that a lot of us guys hear? And then
do you know what? I think a lot of guys will get naive to the fact that you hear that a lady's on some sort of birth control and you kind of think you're safe, when really and truly it's your responsibility as a man. If you know that you're not ready to become a dad, you need to take that precaution and not just rely on or depend on the woman, because at the end of the day, yeah, cool, she could be on some sort of contraception, but it's down to her really. If she's on the contraception, great. If she's not, you know what I'm saying? Again, it's you as a man, it's your responsibility. So I was naive.
Yeah.
I'll hold my hands up. I was very naive. And
so you put all your trust and faith in her when she was telling you she was on the pill and that she couldn't get pregnant. And then she was also saying to you that if she did get pregnant, she wouldn't have kept the child.
Yeah. So that's, again, my naivety there.
When you received that text, what happened after that? Did you go to see her to have this conversation?
So she texted me. I was at my dad's. I remember I got the text. I said, for me, because I know, like, you know, I could become a dad, let me speak to my dad about it.
Okay.
Obviously, like, my dad, he was just like, you know what, you know, if she does keep it, you got to step up as a man, innit? Like, you got to be in the picture. So regardless of what happens between you two after that, you know, because I was very honest. I said, you know, if things weren't serious at that time, we were dating, but we weren't like an actual thing. So even that, I was thinking, like, you'd want to become pregnant with someone that you're in a relationship with, some kind of stable relationship. We're kids. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So when you told your dad that you may have a child on his way, you was what, 18, 19 at the time?
I was 19.
So was your dad angry and mad at you, or?
He was more like, the feelings to kind of describe how my dad was more like mixed emotions between feeling happy that it's going to be like his first grandchild, but also feeling like a sense of disappointment because it's like I hadn't brought her around my family, you know, and I think that was something that was kind of echoed between both my parents. They're separated, so they're not together. So when I spoke to my dad initially, he just said, look, like, you know, I'm happy for you because every child's a blessing and, you know, it's going to be my first grandchild, but really and truly, you're telling me that a woman that I've never met is going to have my first grandchild. And that spoke volumes to me, you know what I'm saying? So, and then I remember I called my mum. My mum was like, huh? Again, she was like, oh, you mean to tell me that a woman that I've never met is going to give me my first grandchild? She was happy, but again, that disappointment of at least introduce her to me. Let me know what she looks like. By this point, none of them even knew, like, and I think because the relationship, again, wasn't that serious, it didn't happen. So it was very unconventional how things happen.
So when you told your parents, you've now going to sit down to have a word with this girl.
Yeah.
You're not in a date relationship with. Was it friends with benefits? Would you say
I think we were dating, but we weren't in a serious
official?
relationship.
Wasn't official to say
It
we're
wasn't
boyfriend and
official.
girlfriend.
I hadn't asked her to be my girlfriend, so for me, that's not official. If I asked you to be my partner, that's official.
And why did you not ask her to be your partner at the time?
Because I wasn't taking it that serious. Okay. We're still quite early on in like our dating stages. So for me, it was like, I didn't really see her as like, or at that time, I didn't really see her as, you're going to be my girlfriend. It was just like, this is nice and I enjoy your company. Didn't really think too deep into it.
All right, so now you've received this text. You're going to have a conversation with her. What happened in this conversation?
So she's come round to my uni accommodation. I'm voicing to her my concerns. My concerns are, you know, quite straightforward. We don't support each other in sense of, you know, I'm not completely independent. I'm at uni. I can just about look after myself. You know, you're still in college. We're not in a financial situation where we can provide for ourselves. How are we going to provide for another child? And like another concern is that I don't want to raise my child with just bare struggles. Like, I feel like if you're going to be a parent, you want to at least be able to financially provide for them so that you can give them the things that you didn't have. So yeah, I didn't want that to be a thing, and I'm at uni and I know that I'm not going to stay at, because I'm at Luton Uni at this point, and I know I'm transferring to Sheffield. So even that's going to be a bit of a strain. And I think ultimately, to kind of underpin everything, is that I hadn't asked her to be my partner. Like I said, like, you know, we're not even in a stable relationship. I haven't asked you to be my girlfriend. Her response at that time was like, yeah, like we did speak about it. So she'll say like, yeah, we did speak about it. And, you know, I did say that I'm not going to have it if I did fall into the situation. But now that it's inside me and I know that it's like, you know, because we don't know if it's a boy or girl, she'll just say, now that I know that there's something inside of me that's growing, I've changed my mind. And I remember thinking, raw, like that, you know, like that, like things can just change in a second. And I think where men are much more logical, I think women are naturally emotional creatures, and you have to kind of just deal with that as a man. You have to understand how to deal with the temperament, the emotions, the feelings of a woman. You have to understand that one day it could all just change. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're young, you know, I'm 19, she's 18. So we're both young. We're both kids. So
she she now made a choice that she was now keeping it.
She was keeping it.
All right. So when she told you that, did you lot then decided after what was going to happen with you lot? Are you lot going to like be official?
I think after a little bit of back and forth, because she says she's keeping it, I've said, we've got into arguments because I felt like at that time, trapped, betrayed, kind of blindsided, a feeling of insecurity of the fact that I'm going to be a young dad that can't provide for my child. All of those feelings mixed in with the fact that, again, she's not my girlfriend. I haven't asked her to be my girlfriend. We got into so many arguments, but to kind of drive forward from that point, I remember that I organized a sit down between my mum, my dad, and her late mum. So we've all sat down. You know, everybody's come from their house to come to her mum's where she was living. And we're all talking about what the future is going to look like. And in that conversation, things are being said like, you know he's going to Sheffield University. He's going to university to better his life. Is this the right time to be having a child with somebody who, you know, isn't going to be around? I'm going to be on the other side of the country. And like all those kind of conversations, I remember like her late mum at that time saying things like, you know, like, I understand that he's trying to better his life, but, you know, this is something that she wants to do. She wants to keep the child, and regardless of the circumstances, she wants to proceed with having the child, whether he's in the picture or not. I remember I heard those words and I was like, I'm gonna be in the picture. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Good.
But like, I think those kind of words made me prepare for like what the future could entail. Because where there's acknowledgement of whether he's in the picture or not, it's almost like I'm replaceable.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't like feeling like that. I didn't like the feeling of whether I'm in the picture or not. It's not really that important as a man who's going to be a dad. Like, I don't know, like I took that quite personally. I didn't like cause an argument then and there, but I took that quite personally. I was like, in my head, I was thinking I will be there, like regardless. So
do you find that because you had your dad in your life and he said to you, like anything what you do, you take care of your responsibilities. Is that something that you're feeling that, something you now have to live up to? If you was now having a child on its way, where I have to now step up to whatever is coming my way, and I've got someone telling me if we're here or not, we don't care.
yeah, kind of, because like the man I call dad is not my biological dad.
Okay.
So the man who is my biological dad, I haven't seen since I was 10. So I know what it feels like to have an absent parent and the kind of impact that has. And I think that's a kind of trauma and pain that I wouldn't want to pass on to any of my kids. So I'd want to, even if my kids don't like me, I'd want them to be able to talk about me in some capacity. And I've always had that mindset from when I was young, purely based on like what I went through. So like with my dad, you know, the man I call dad, like he kind of, like you said, set that standard of what it means to be a dad, to be a positive father figure. And I said to myself, yeah, like I want to be like him because he's present, you know.
And what was your relationship? As you say, you kind of mentioned that your biological father was not involved in your life.
Yeah.
So how did that all unfold?
To be quite honest, I think I can give you like my perspective, but because he was absent for the majority of it, I only remember seeing him like properly twice in my life. So from what I've been told, from when I was a few months old, he decided to not be present, no longer be with my mom, and to not be present in like, you know, me or my brother's life. And I remember like growing up and, you know, my dad, not my biological dad, but my dad, me thinking that he was my biological dad and then having to get understanding from like, you know, my mom and stuff that he's not actually my biological dad. And it's almost like, well, where is he kind of thing. And then growing up with that in my mind, like, you know, why is he not around, you know?
So did you ever used to walk on the road, like ever be on the streets looking around to think, is that my dad there? Is that my dad there? Or
do you know what? So just to kind of, I never was walking on the street and thinking, is that my dad? But I had the worst kind of awakening of meeting my dad. And I say the worst because he came and went kind of thing. So I must have been around 10 years old and this man pops up at my grandma's on my mom's side. This man pops up and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me. I've gone to answer the door. I'm looking at him. I'm thinking, who is this man? But you know when someone looks at you like they know you? He's looking at me like he knows me. I'm looking at him like, who the fuck are you? I'll keep it real, innit? Yeah. Like, so like, he must have said something like, oh, is grandma here? And I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, who is this man to be chatting about grandma? So he's, I think I must have called someone. It must have been, I can't remember who I called, but I said, you know, there's a man at the door or something. And then I think someone said, yeah, let him come up or whatever. Gone upstairs, whatever. He's gone to greet, I think at that time, my late granddad was still around. He's gone upstairs, greeted my grandma, greeted my late granddad, greeted everyone that's in the house at that time. And then I think what had happened is that, who was it? Somebody came downstairs to tell me that's my dad, was it? I think it was either my mum, maybe my mum or my grandma come downstairs and said, that's your dad. And then I looked and I remember when I was that age, I was just so excited that I know who he is. I was so excited at the fact that I just know that this guy, like I'm half of him and he's in my life now. I think I was just overwhelmed with the fact that he's finally here, you know, again, reaching those ages of 10 and never meeting him. To have that moment, I was happy. I was really ecstatic. I was just like, oh, Dad, like, you know, it's good to see you, this, that, and the other, and whatnot. And the reason why I say it was the kind of worst kind of awakening for me is because, you know, that moment lasted for maybe an evening. And then I think after that, there was an arrangement where my mum tried to contact him for me and my brother to go there, go and see him, and whatnot. And I remember we was in the car. It was in my mum's car. My mum drove up because we were living in, we were around Hackney side, East London. So we went to wherever he was, somewhere in Hackney. And my mum's rocked up to his with both of us there. And like we're in the car, I think she's gone to knock on the door or something. And I think he didn't answer her or whatnot. She tried to call him because from that day when he's come to my grandma's, he's obviously left his number or whatnot. And then my mum just come back to the car and just said, like, you're not going to be able to see your dad. And I think when we were driving away, I think I saw him in like the window or something. So that was the second time I seen him. And then I just remember thinking, like that. And then never saw him again after that. You know what I'm saying? So.
And what brought him to your grandma's house that time?
I couldn't tell you, but my guess is to kind of just introduce himself because he knows he's been absent.
Okay. And has he, obviously, to what you know, does he have any other siblings who may be involved in their life?
I think I have a half brother and a half sister on that side, on his side, but I've never met them. Okay. You know, I have no contact. I have no way to reach them. Obviously, if they're watching this, you know, reach out. But I've never met them. And last I heard about him, he's somewhere in Czech Republic. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So going back to after having a sit down with your family and her mum, and etc. What happened after all of that?
So we came to a consensus. It was just a bit like, okay, like, you know, she wants to keep it. So, you know, everybody just prepare to be a grandmother, prepare to be a granddad, prepare to be parents. And it was just like, okay, like, I know this is happening. So we may as well be in a relationship. Let's try and be in a relationship so that we can have that kind of, it's almost like placing the
link.
Placing the link or placing the kind of, you know, glue between us on our soon to arrive baby. You know, we're going to be parents. Let's try and be in a relationship kind of thing. So that's when she became my proper girlfriend. And like, we were just trying to figure out things on how things were going to work. But at that time, I was in a relationship. I was preparing to be a dad as well as preparing to go uni in Sheffield. And like at that time, she was doing a part-time, working in a restaurant and studying at college. So it was a lot, like, you know. So I guess it was just preparation for that.
So your little one has now come.
Yep.
All right. So she's given birth to your little one.
Yeah. I cut the placenta cord and all of that. Yeah, man.
So how was that experience for you?
It was like, it felt a bit like a dream. Never experienced anything like it. I've obviously seen the films and what it looks like and heard. But like, I say it's a bit like a dream because it's like so much going on all at once. And then seeing her trying to push, having gas in there, the epidural, you know, suffering with preeclampsia, all of that, I think it kind of just made it feel like, is this really happening kind of thing? And then that moment when she arrives and I hold her for the first time, man, I was so happy. Everything else before that did not matter.
Yeah.
My princess is in my hands. That's all that mattered. In that moment right there, she just meant everything to me. And I knew from that moment, it was like, I'm going to try and be the best dad that I can be. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So did you lot then decided to move with each other after all of this? So you've got the baby now, your boyfriend and girlfriend, was there a living stage together?
So we had so what happened after that is that she was still living with her mum. So she's living with her mum. I'm still at uni in Sheffield. So I would come down as much as I could. I would say that would probably be every fortnight for like a weekend. But like that was something that was brought up multiple times as we're expecting for her to deliver. Just that, you know, I'll probably only be able to come down every fortnight for like a weekend because I've got uni. I might be able to come down longer when there's like a break or something, but that's what I'm going to have to do. But she's still living at her mum's. Her mum's helping out. Her sister, who she was living with, is helping her out as well. I'm helping out where I can. But yeah, like she eventually moved into her own place. So she had a flat in Marsh Farm.
Okay.
If you know Marsh Farm, you know Marsh Farm. She had a flat in Marsh Farm now. There were these blocks that they've been
still
torn
standing?
down.
No,
they've been torn down.
Okay.
Torn down.
Okay.
She was there, and then I remember like the closest thing to kind of living together would be like those summer breaks where I'm there, I'm working, I'm getting a job. You know what I mean? I'm working in London, but I'm coming home to her and all of that. So, and there was a situation as well where we had to go and live with my grandma for a little bit in Dalston. These times when my grandma was living in Dalston, I had to go and live with her for a little bit as well. So me, my little girl and her are in this one room. So,
And when you was all doing this, was the relationship still healthy or was it now starting to decline?
The relationship was probably healthy for maybe a good 6 to 8 months of my daughter's life. I think after that we were both being toxic towards each other. I think the reason why is because we're both kind of realizing slowly that the only reason why we're really together is because of my daughter. We haven't picked each other. It's very circumstantial. The fact that we're in a relationship, and it's almost like there's a bitterness towards one another where we're doing things to, you know, rub the other person the wrong way.
So what kind of things was you like doing to each other?
But we'll get into arguments. I think things like, you know, we were talking to people that we really and truly we had no business contacting them. She was chatting to guys, I was chatting to girls. Again, it was just like exchanging that toxicity between us.
Is it because both you two knew that you both was chatting to different people, so it felt more comfortable doing this? Or how do you get your suspicions then that you knew she was chatting to other guys?
I think for me, right, I think there's things that you start to notice, and like for me, it was the things like when she would use her phone, like it felt very secretive at times, and I used to think, why does it feel like a big secret that you're in the same room as me?
Yeah.
Why does it feel like a big secret? You know what I'm saying? So that was running through my mind, like, and like I think, you know, without being, I'll say it, innit? But you know, when you look at somebody's social media profile, you get like a certain kind of vibe in it. On her social media profile, I noticed a few things. One, I felt like when I looked at her profiles back then, she felt single.
Okay.
So I'm looking at her profile and I'm thinking, rah, you look single. There's not a mention of me. You got a whole youth with me, but you know, we're in a whole relationship, but there was no mention of it. I was like, okay, so you feel single. So that's one thing. The phone thing being a bit kind of secretive as well. And then, you know, there would be things that would happen. There was one incident that happened where massively, like I was feeling massively insecure. I think, I had to go through her phone. I went through her phone. I saw bare Snapchat chats, bare of them. Yeah, I said, "Raw." At this time, I think my daughter was coming up to 2, so maybe
2 years or 2 months?
coming up to 2 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember because she came up to Sheffield. She came up to Sheffield because I had a place there whilst I'm studying. And even that was in a shared house. She came up to Sheffield, and this whole situation happened where she's gone to the toilet. She's left her phone unlocked. This is the one time she's left her phone unlocked. I think she really needs to go in. When you're bursting, you don't even think about it. So she left her phone unlocked, and I thought, I just need to know, innit? So my insecurities took control of me. I went on her phone, went on Snapchat, because I know Snapchat is the chats just delete automatically, So I went on it now, and I just saw bare unread pictures, videos, chats, and I saw bare different men's names, and I said, yeah, this kind of just lets me know what the situation is.
And what kind of pictures are they sending to each other?
I didn't open them because I felt like if I open them, you get the open.
Yeah, you see,
it's the
red, innit?
So that's why I was like, but a part of me wanted to, but even before I could start opening them, I think she's clocked that I've got her phone. So instead of her going to the toilet, she's actually run out and she said, "Oh, where's my phone?" But I've quickly run downstairs with the phone in it. So she's like, "Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone?" And then she's come down, taken the phone. She's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I was like, "What am I doing?" And then we got into an argument, and she was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" And then she did something. I think she changed the account. Don't know how she done it to this day, but she went back on Snapchat and she said, "There's nothing there."
Yeah, she's done.
I don't know how to explain it. Listen,
because these girls are pro at it, bro.
I don't know how, unless you've got I don't know. I was just, I knew I wasn't going crazy, but I had no proof.
Yeah.
So it's just yeah.
All right, so you gone through the phones. What happened from then?
That was one of many arguments. That was one of many breakups. We break up, get back together, break up, get back together. It was.
So what did she catch you doing? She ever caught you doing anything?
I think one thing that she confronted me about is that at that time, I was guilty of liking other ladies' pictures. And these aren't pictures do you know what I'm saying, where it's what's the word? Where there's a lot of skin on show, those kind of pictures, a lot of skin on show. And I just remember at that time, she was confronting me saying, "Do you know what? You're liking all these girls' pictures. Who do you think I am, innit? You think I'm just going to sit around and let you just like all these girls' pictures? If you're going to keep liking them and doing all of that, what's the point of us?" And I remember thinking, there's nothing I can say in it because I have been liking. But I'm still trying to argue. But I ain't got a legs to stand on. But
are you liking and linking, or is it only just liking?
It was just liking, really. So there was girls' pictures that I was liking, but I weren't linking.
Okay.
So.
But then it's not really cheating though. You understand?
So yeah.
But fair play.
One.
So from then, when did it finally, where both of you said it was done?
So we probably, that incident with the Snapchat and all of that was probably towards the end of 2015. 2016, just before I'm about to graduate, we break up. And that's the final breakup, For me, at least, I felt like we had now got into a vicious cycle of breaking up, getting back together. And that was kind of the expectation. That was something that I said, you know what? I can't keep doing this because the person who's going to feel it the most is going to be my daughter. So yeah, the final breakup, that time I said to her, look, we won't be getting back together because we're toxic towards each other and this isn't good for our little girl. So
so both broken up. How was it to see your daughter?
I would say that she never actually stopped me from seeing. She never actually stopped me from seeing my little girl. She used to just threaten to stop me.
Okay.
And that used to rub me the wrong way. She knew, and we used to get into some crazy wild arguments after we split up. But she knew if she said anything to do with my daughter, I'm rattled. Come for me, I don't care. Like, you say what you gotta say. The moment you involve my daughter, I'm rattled. I'm rattled. Like, literally, I'm just frustrated. I'm angry, whatever. So yeah, like, yeah, that's kind of the extent that it got to, where I would say that, you know, she'll threaten to stop me from seeing my child because we've had an argument. Nothing to do with my child, just we've had an argument. So now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, if you keep doing that, or if you talk to me this way, you're not going to see your daughter.
She would maybe threaten you from time to time when you see your child and you couldn't see your child, but you more time had access of seeing your
Still
child.
had access, yeah.
When you wanted to see your child.
Yeah.
From then, moving forward from there, how did it then play out with you, with the mum? Was there like arrangements now that the child is not going to be with you full time? Where did it happen from thereafter?
So to kind of give a bit more context to that, so when we split up now, because again, I'm still kind of like uni, transitioning into being a graduate now, looking for a graduate role and all of that. I'm staying at my mum's. My mum lived in Essex, yeah. And then my dad's in Luton, but my dad, he didn't have no kind of like space for me to come and live with him again, because I was living with him before that, before I went uni. So I remember I used to go to my dad's just to kind of basically stay on like the sofa or whatever, or like, you know, my sibling might give me the room for like whilst I'm there, something like that anyway. But to get to that situation of where the arrangement got involved and all of that, the context behind that is that I didn't really have somewhere to even be able to have my daughter full time. So it was very much like weekend here, weekend every fortnight, something like that. And, you know, again, the arguments, the threats, all of that, you know, the ridiculing, like you're not even a father that provides, you're not even doing anything, this, that, and the other.
What does she mean by that? That you're not a father to provide? Is it more financially, or someone not spending time with the
financially, and someone that's not there with their child a lot? You know, like, you know, admittedly, I wasn't a father that was there. I wasn't present. I wasn't present how I wanted to be. And that was something that I knew when I was becoming a dad that I'm going to struggle with, because I want to be present. I know what it feels like to have an absent dad.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be that. So like, even though I'm struggling, I'm still trying to find a way. Like, I am working, I'm doing like odd jobs here and there, working in a bar, working in a gambling arcade, getting paid minimum wage, doing whatever I can do to just put a bit of money in my pocket to make sure that I can take myself from wherever I need to go and see my daughter. But yeah, the context of that is, you know, I didn't have somewhere that, again, I could have my daughter full time. And what had happened is that there was one argument where she went too far. I can't remember what the incident is, but I remember thinking that I need something in black and white. So I remember, because I had a little bit of experience working in contract law by that point, I said, I know roughly what it takes to draft together a contract. And like, you know, once I draft this contract, I give it to her. She can either say, yeah, it looks good, or no. I can't even lie, I timed it. There was one incident that made me think I need to have something in black and white. And then I predicted that there would be another incident where I'm going to present the contract and say, this is why I've drafted this together. Long and behold, that's exactly what happened. Another incident happened. I remember I asked her to speak to her face to face, because after that incident happened, I went to talk to her on a level like, you know, instead of me just getting angry and frustrated like I usually would, it'd be like, let me approach this differently with an agreement to kind of put down some kind of baseline on how we need to deal with each other, because we can have an argument, but if we have an argument, it should have nothing to do with my daughter at the end of the day. And that was the first agreement. So the first agreement, it was exactly that. If we have an argument, there should be no repercussions on either parent's side when it comes to seeing the child. There should be an expectancy to not use the child in any malicious way to exploit the child against the other parent. We had that in black and white. Again, the first agreement. So that kind of took shape. I remember when I presented that contract to her, her face was almost like, what the fuck's this? Her face was very surprised, because it was very much like she wouldn't have predicted I was going to do that. But I think when you place a man in a certain situation, he's going to adapt. He's going to try and like do something to better the situation. So she knew she was in the wrong from that incident. She knew it didn't look good. She understood that at the end of the day, like, you know, I didn't draw this contract together to try and take advantage of her. I've drawn it with the best interests for my daughter. So she had no reason, no moral reason to say no.
She stuck to the contract.
So she signed it. She signed it then and there. She signed it. I said, I got a copy for you as well. I said, look, like this contract here is just to ensure that neither of us uses our child against each other. No exploitation, no manipulation. We have our arguments. We deal with that separately.
Has there been any other contracts besides that one?
Yes. So that was the first contract. The second contract, one of the things that she used to say to me a lot was, I'm doing everything. You know, our child lives with me. You're not in the picture. You're not here. You don't know what it's like. And that used to wind me up. Again, like I've got my insecurities of the fact that I don't want to be an absent parent. So when she used to like ridicule me, saying like, you're just basically not a good dad, I used to like digest it in parts. We used to have arguments and whatever, but I think, again, like her bringing into question how good of a dad I am was the thing that used to rattle me a lot. So the second contract was a contract where I said to her, look, like, I'm not in the perfect situation, but this is what I would propose. And I remember speaking to her about it before I actually drafted the contract. And the contract basically outlines us to have an arranged kind of an arrangement where my child would be with me for 4 years, and then with her for 4 years, and then with me for 4 years, and then with her for 4 years until she's 16, school leaving age. And in that time, whoever is the non-resident parent can have her on either every fortnight on the weekend or every weekend. And she was happy with it at the time. She was happy. She was like, okay, cool, signed that one. And then it was coming up to, I think, her 4th birthday. And then she was like, I'm not happy with it. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, you signed it. What do you want? She was like, yeah, I'm not happy with it because I'm going to miss her so much. And you don't know what it's like to have her. And I said, I don't know what it's like to have her. That's exactly why I put together this contract, so that we can even it out. You're always saying that, you know, I don't know what it's like and that you're finding it hard as a mum. Understandably, because it is hard being a parent. But you're saying all these things. I'm trying to do something about it. I'm not just trying to, you know, blow it off.
You came to a solution.
I put something forward, didn't it? So like I'm trying. And then like she used to be like, no, like that's not okay. And I said, look, like at the end of the day, we come to this contract. Like I think we both have come to these agreements because we don't want to go through the legal system because we know it's expensive. It's a lot of money, right? So at the end of the day, you signed it. You're saying that you're finding it hard as a mum. I'm trying to do something about that. Like, I don't understand what you want to happen. And then she like, the closer it got to her 4th birthday, the closer she got more adamant. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And I said, look, I'm struggling to know what to propose here. Can you help me out? Like, what do you want to happen, isn't it? It's like, and then she's like, again, it's like arguments. It's like, oh, but like, you know, you should be doing more. And it's like, you're saying I should be doing more. I'm trying to. Eventually, I said to her, look, it could be a case of we do like a midweek split where, you know, my daughter comes to me from like, let's say like Wednesday until like a Tuesday, and then she comes back to you on that Tuesday, and she stays with you until Tuesday, and then she comes back to me. So alternating weeks.
So you negotiated.
Of course, like, you know what I mean? Like, as much as we argue, she's still the mother of my child, innit? So ultimately, she's gonna have that respect from me. Like, regardless of whatever's happened, you're still the mother of my child. You've been doing that. Like, where I've like been able to go and finish my studies, and then I've only been able to like see her on like the what do you call it?
Half terms
and the weekends. She's been doing that throughout all of that. So like, even if she pisses me off, she's still got that respect to kind of reason with her. You know what I'm saying? So then eventually we come to something where, again, it's the midweek split, and she's happy with that. I'm like, okay, cool. Put that in black and white. And long and behold, we've been doing that for like a solid 4 years.
Well done.
Yeah, so that's literally, I mean, I said to her, like, I don't want it to be a case where we just have a contract, because the last contract before this one, it lasts until she's 16. So I said, what I can do, I can draw up an addendum, and we can stipulate these terms where we said we'll do a midweek split, and we review it annually. So like, if there's something that we want to change, or we want to, you know, we don't like, we talk about it. But we've got to that kind of dynamic now where it's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if there's something in the contract, we'll just talk about it.
So everything what you don't, the way you lot co-parent and communicate with each other is by having it in writing on a contract, and then review it once a year.
Yep.
That's good still, you know.
Yeah, I mean, saved a lot of money, a lot of headaches, a lot of money. But do you know, like, this is where I have to say, like, I think where we both got tired of like having arguments, because I think every father can relate to having an argument with the mother of their child, right? Every man, and it gets tiresome, you know. We want to get into, you know, different situations. We want to try new things, whether that's start a business, whether that's get into a new job, whether that's like step up our fitness. We want to do other things. And like, we don't want the additional stress of having to argue with the mother of our child or our children. So like, I think that was really key for both of us, that we want to put something in black and white to avoid these arguments that we be having. So.
All right, well done to that. There was something which you did touch on, which I only now picked up, right, which you mentioned a bit earlier on. This was to do with your dad, right? So your stepfather. Right, so you're saying that your stepfather and your mum are not together no more.
Yeah, I mean, it's even tricky, because it's like, this is where the terminology escapes me, and I'll tell you why, right? Because I think up until I was probably maybe 20, maybe 22, maybe 23. I've only just turned 30 for everyone to know. But up until I was like maybe 22, 23, that's how I was referring to him. Like, the man I called dad, I was calling him my stepdad. But long and behold, I have what you call a private fostering notification certificate, which was issued to him. So from a legal standpoint, like, I guess he's more like a foster dad. And then because my mum is married now, I guess that's my stepdad. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I say the terminology escapes me, because true say, I just call, you know what I'm saying, my dad, innit? Simple as that. And I call my mum's husband uncle. Okay. Because you get me? So like, yeah, but...
So you look at your stepdad as your real father?
Yeah, 100%. That's your real dad, and 100%.
You still have that relationship today?
To this day.
And your mum didn't ever stop you from not still having that relationship with him, even though he brought you up?
She tried hard. I won't even lie. Like, I know my mum will watch this, and I love my mum to bits, but she tried it, especially when the relationship was falling apart. You know, she tried. And I think that's the logical side of a woman, to think, you know what? I'm no longer in a relationship with this man. My child should have nothing to do with them. Logically, it makes sense. But when you're a child who has an absent father, and there's nobody else that you can look at that you think even comes close to being a dad. My late granddad, honestly, absolute saint. Really, really big role model for me in terms of like how I wanted to be as a man. But he took the position of my granddad. You know, whatever we're calling like the man I call my dad, yeah, because I just say my dad, innit? But whether that's foster dad, whether that's stepdad, whatever, that's my dad, innit? You get me? And like, I still got that love for him to this day. So
That's good, man.
yeah, man.
That's good. I think time is up. It's been a good conversation. Is there anything what you would like to say before we go?
I think it's important for separated fathers to realize that it's probably within your interest to try and find a way to reason with the mother of your child. Because I think what happens is that there's a degree of toxicity that gets exchanged. That happens with most of us, if not all of us. All of us fathers that find ourselves in this situation where we're coming from a relationship and we're separating, like, there's going to be a degree of toxicity. But I would only suggest that it's within the interest of the father to say, you know what, this is not worth it, because ultimately the law sides with the mother. The law is geared towards the mother. And I think I can understand, as I've gotten older, I can understand it more and more. You know, we don't, as a man, we don't carry a child for 9 months. You know, we don't, I was able to go and finish my studies, and like her whole life changed instantly. Even before my daughter arrived, her life has changed because she's now eating for two. She's not been able to move as she could when she was pregnant. So like, I think where a lot of guys, a lot of separated fathers are like finding it hard with the mother of their child, I think it's within their best interest to try and find some way to reason. It's not always possible, but you can end up saving a lot of money, a lot of headache, just trying to find a way to reason, you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I'll just encourage.
Okay. Well said, simple.
Yeah, man.
All right. Listen, I want to hear your lot of views today on today's episode in the comments below. Also as well, make sure you check out the Baby Father's website at www.thebabyfathers.com. That's to any fathers who may be having difficulties of seeing their child. There is some information on there what can help you to try and make you navigate through the system. Do check that out. Also as well, do check out the merch, which one you can see behind me. Father Raises Queens. We also have Father Raises Kings. Also the t-shirt I've got, my BMW gives me headaches. And also, also as well, don't forget to check out the new show, Have Your Say, right here on the Baby Fathers platform. This takes place each and every Thursdays from 8 p.m. live on YouTube. So make sure you don't get involved in that as well. That's live callers. All right, that's where you don't have your say. All right. So listen, for myself, DJ Ridler from the Baby Fathers.
Hey, yo, Ridler, though, before you wrap it up, though, let me just shamelessly plug myself, because I've got my own parent transparency platform that I've been building. It's called Is Life Simple? I go around asking questions at street interviews where I go out to people and I ask them if they're a parent, if they're not a parent, and I get them to just impart a bit of words, whether that's from a perspective of being a parent or if that's from a perspective of somebody that wants to be a parent or doesn't want kids. The parent transparency platform is called Is Life Simple? You can find it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And you'll see Ridler on there soon.
You definitely will. Listen, we're going to add that link to the description below as well, all right? So we're going to add all the keys to the link, all right? So listen, peeps, it's time for us to go. Till next time, peace, and we out. What's going on, people? And it's your boy DJ Ridler here. Just to let you know, a brand new show that's come onto the Baby Fathers platform is called Have Your Say. That's where you get involved to have your say on any topic that we talk about on. This happens each and every Thursdays at 8 p.m. right here on the Baby Fathers platform.